Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. It's Ski. I'm not an artist, I'm not a musician, I used to be a writer, and I am a programmer. Alright? I transmitted what I knew about pixel art. I talked about what I knew about music and composition. I didn't teach anything about writing because I think there is no much secret to writing, maybe some logic, like keep the consistency throughout the world building, the lore, the plot, and so on. But I didn't make any tutorial because I don't think it needed. And now I reached where I wanted from since the beginning. That is the programming. That is the gaming making of using Godot. What is my plan? I don't want to explain like giving out very basics of programming because I mean, if you want to become a developer, I think it is suitable to learn about the history of computer science, know about binary, how the processors and memory works, how a computer work in a level of hardware, how to know how networks works. Uh, but for game development, this would be a good complementary knowledge, but I think it can be more practical. So I want like teach the basics since from the beginning. I might talk about some term or some concepts throughout the videos because some people, mainly the beginners, might not totally grasp the concept of the term, so I might explain it as well. But my focus is just uh, straight out make something, you know? And that's it. I want to make this first video as like I used to do. Today I will talk about states. But to be honest, I would like to talk about two things, if not that much terrible. The first thing I wanted to talk about is algorithm. Right? So algorithm is not about what TikTok or Instagram decides what to show you. It's an example of an algorithm, but the algorithm term or concept is a set of finite steps to solve a specific problem. So anything can be faced as a problem, and if you have any number of steps, ideally finite, so if you have any finite amount of steps, it can go around, it can circumnavigate, but it doesn't matter. If it is a finite amount of steps to solve or to reach a certain goal, to solve a certain problem, it is an algorithm. So I think the most common example you might stumble on is it's the cake recipe idea. The Any recipe actually, it's an algorithm. It basically, if you follow the steps, the instructions, you will at the end have a cake. So this is the idea, right? This is what kind of will lead my tutorials about programming in here, actually game development, because it's my focus. Uh, I do not recommend for beginners to build complete games. So I do not. There is this discussion in gaming development community. What a beginner should do. Actually, they ask for advice. Small games or big games, a small project or a bigger project. I will be very honest with you. Having a full, complete life cycle, development cycle of anything uh, related to programming, it's enriching. It is very important, so you can feel every single steps and how they affect each other, and also it will grant you knowledge. So I do recommend this, but I always face as ideal to think more about systems and try to learn and build them in the terms of practice. Focus on development systems. What I mean, for example, instead of trying to build at your first thing a big project or a small project, try to figure out how to make a skill tree system or a level system or an inventory system. Try to make this in a separate project because you are not only putting in practice the making of the game, but you are mastering the systems that usually a game can be totally reduced to this plus the non-programming parts, and basically. So if I think of a game, try to think which systems they have, like essentially. If you just get them and mix in any project, you will get the essence of that game. So you learn how to make systems, not exactly how to make a certain game. It's better. It's better to make the fundamentals stronger because it's not dependent from the other things. That's why I'm referring as foundation. So your foundation, your base is very strong, and you can reuse a lot of things, mainly the logic, in different games. All right. I wanted to talk about states since I'm making this in my cell phone. That is not good. As I said, I had to downgrade. What I will do, I will make everything, not exactly recording and explaining real time. I will write the code and I will explain each steps and the logic behind them, and then I will try to make it work the best I can in this hardware. All right. So I will write everything, and I will come back soon. Okay, guys. So what was the steps taken in order to make this state part? Remember, just wanted to highlight that the same way that I called it a state machine, you could have it more specialized ones. And for example, one state machine for movement, one state machine for skills and attacks, another for any behavior or specific characteristics, and so on. So, first of all, I created a class called state. This is our super class, and basically, class is a set of variables and functions that we call properties and methods or behaviors that represent an entity, or actually anything, even a part of an entity or an entity itself. So in this case, this class entity have one property that is the name of the state, the start and the end function. The start I print is starting and the name of the state, or ending and the name of the state, and I set the physics process of the current state of itself to true or false. Here, you could use not you could use the process itself or both process and the physics process. I used this because in this example I wanted to handle character body 2D, so I just made a simple code that allowed me to move the character around, all right? And I made specializations of these states. So you will have an state that is the base, the foundation, the shape of these part of this entity. And now I have a specialized version of it. So for example, I have the idle state that could have more things, alright, to set. But in this case, I just set the name of the state. I assigned the property value to idle state, but I could use in this idle, for example, set the velocity to 0, play an animation at random times, whatever you wanted, and a move state. This move state I made in a way that would be possible for me in a cell phone to do something, right? So I declared a variable called body of type character body 2D equals to null. I set the name of the state to move state, and in the start function I override it, alright, because you have a class that represents something and you have specializations of this class. So the first class, that the one that we extend, that one we inherit, it's the super class. That's why we access methods of them by calling it super dot something. All right, not only the function, the methods, but the properties as well. So in this case, in the start function, I call the start from the super class, in this case the state. So I basically called state.start. I check if the body exists or it's not null, and if it is, it will call an end, right? So it won't advance in the process, because if it does have a body, so the physics process will just run naturally. And in this case, I assigned a random speed in the x and the y axis to the body, and I called the move and slide function. Remember that I'm not handling the movement in the character, right? I'm handling the movement in this state. So the move and slide I could call there, but if I just called there, for example, if I had a Foley mechanics or something like this, and I don't call there, for example, only when this state is active, something will happen. So if you have a full state, or you have another state that might change the character movement, it's also ideal to have to call the move and slide or move and collide, depending the scenario, function method, alright? And I also overwrite the end function, calling the end of the super class, because I wanted to set the body velocity to 0, alright? So I assigned the body velocity to vector 2.0. And the state machine. You could have a more complex state machine, but this one allows us to have specific state machines for different things, as I said. One for movement, another one for skill and attack, another one for inventory or any server behavior, and so on. Alright? And here we have a variable that holds the current state of the entity. Alright? That starts on null. And we have only one function called switch state that have a parameter of a state. So I check if the current state is not null. Actually, if it has something assigned to it. If it has, I call the end function. So I stop the state. I assign the new state from the parameter to the current state, and I call this start from this current state. All right. So each entity that might have a state machine should call from its current state. All right. So here, this is the entity. In this case, this would represent the player. So I have a variable that is that assigns ready. So right after the player is initialized, I assign the state machine variable to the node state machine, because I created a node, I attached a node to this scene called node state machine, and I attached the script to it. But I could try to do it in another way. I could instantiate the state machine from the code and then attach the node to the player, to the entity. All right. So, and I declared and instantiated the possible states. Then I added as a child to the state machine, and I assigned the possible variables that each state might have. In this case, only one, that is the move state, would need the body assignment. But if you have more complex or more things to assign, here you should assign on the ready function. And in the input function, or even in the process function, whatever you handle the input. So since I'm on the cell phone, I cannot use the keyboard, obviously. So I modified the input UI accept as the left mouse button. All right. So if I press and I hold the screen, my player will move randomly. All right. But when I release the screen, my player will now have the state set to idle, so it won't do anything. All right. So this were the output. You could use a label, for example, any text above this entity head, so you can better track the state, so and not use the output tab. But this is the point. This is the whole idea. This is very basic, and it expands to a better maintenance from the code in a way easier way. You know, I think the hardest problem you might have in this architecture might be have integrations. So you might have, for example, if one state affects another one, you might have a way for them to interact with each other. But that is it. So I hope it was useful. Thanks for watching. I don't know how many tutorials I will release, but as I said, I will just try to make systems, alright? And make dev vlogs if it was the scenario. Alright, so thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.